Oh, wow. You know, when the foolish in the world engage in foolish behavior that can damage individual rights, one can either become frustrated and withdraw or take the situation by the proverbial horns and enjoy the ride while helping others learn a few things. So, as the University of Southern California disciplines a professor for using a Mandarin term that sounds like a bad word in English, we can grin, bear it, and use it as mental ammo to learn about freedom. Greetings, fellow lexicographers. I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. It looks like the high-ups at the University of Southern California Marshall School of Business just gave us the opportunity to make lemonade out of lemons. As Bobby Sove of Reason and Ben Seisloft of Campus Reform report, the administration at the school recently suspended Professor of Clinical Business Communication Greg Patton for, get this, explaining the idiomatic Chinese use of the Mandarin word nega as a fill-in expression, similar to what Americans use or like for, to fill in gaps in conversation.
If you have a lot of or ers, and this is culturally specific, so based on your native language, like in China, the common word is that. So in China, it might be nega. So there's different words that you'll hear in different countries, but they're vocal disfluencies.
Well, Patton transgressed the saintly and unknowable standards of the school during a virtual classroom, writes Sove. In China, the common word is that. So in China, it might be nega, Patton explained to his class. So there's different words you'll hear in different cultures, but they're vocal disfluences. And since certain students evidently enjoy swimming in the kiddie pool of social justice to such an extent that they can't deal with the deep end of reality or the fact that Patton was speaking a different language, they protested to the university heads, people whose own heads seem pretty vacant, or as Pink Floyd might have said, comfortably numb. And the Marshall School of Business marshaled the integrity and wisdom to, you got it, suspend Patton from teaching the class and issue a statement that reads, in part, recently a USC faculty member during class used a Chinese word that sounds similar to a racial slur in English. We acknowledge the historical, cultural, and harmful impact of racist language. It's not even the language. It's a different language. I can't even. Oh man, it's so. But this wasn't racist language. Do the Marshall School administrators need a repeat of this? It was Mandarin Chinese. The situation is actually reminiscent to the moment in 1999 when social justice numbskulls heard Washington, D.C. Office of Public Advocacy head David Howard use the term niggardly in a meeting. And since they were too ignorant to know the meaning or the 14th century origin of the word, they thought it was a racist slur, despite it actually meaning miserly, and despite it being perfectly germane to what Howard was discussing at the time. Their insane outcry was heard nationwide and led to Howard's resignation. Yes, indeed, despite doing nothing wrong, despite the fact that it was those who misconstrued him and were ignorant of the English language who were in error, it was Howard who was pushed out. And this new instance is even worse. It sees USC students becoming upset and foolish administrators siding with them over a word that isn't even an English word. And it's pronounced nega. As a pro-liberty friend who frequently travels to Asia told me, stress is on the first syllable, and the second syllable is very slight, almost clipped. It means that or that one, and it's often used by native speakers as a filler, like or you know. That was the point the professor was making in the lecture, and he is 100% correct. In my 2+ years of studying Chinese in college, it never once crossed my mind to make the correlation these kids made. And even if I had, I would have recognized that it's a different freaking language. They must have really been working hard to find something to be offended by, and probably shouldn't be in an institution that requires thinking. Enough said. Except for this. It would be great if taxpayers in California and all across the U.S. didn't have to fork over portions of their earnings to subsidize the California university system. We are literally forced to pay for the promotion of stupidity and ignorance, and for the suppression of truth and erudition. The administration can be reached by phone via digits provided at the publicity section of their tax-funded website. And they can be contacted on Twitter and found on Facebook. So perhaps people will lay enough pressure on them to see them rectify their brain-addling error. And if they don't change their ways, at least they've given common sense-minded people another reason to steer clear of universities and find alternative resources for education. Making lemonade out of lemons. That's the way we can try to handle the downward spiral of American culture, government, and education, even as we unite to find new ways to operate with one another. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Thanks to my liberty-minded friend for keying me into this word, and I really appreciate being able to chat with you inside the comments section at YouTube. Remember, if you're subscribed at YouTube, just double check to make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the like button if you can, please do so, and share the video far and wide. Don't forget to see us at MRCTV.org, and if you're looking for great fashions from the MRC, I wore it again, back by popular demand, in search of real news. Little tip of the hat to Leonard Nimoy, and as I've mentioned, one of my favorite rock albums. And I will be going to the store myself and grabbing some things for some friends. For MRC TV, don't forget, it's MRC-store. I'm Gardner Goldsmith.